Well, hey everybody, and welcome to this midweek review with Mr. John. I am Mr. John, and we are starting off a new month, and we're going to be talking about some of the greatest people in the Bible. And one of them is in the book of Judges. Now, I want to explain the book of Judges just a bit before I get into this special guy we're going to talk about. In the book of Judges, we kind of see the Israelites do this cycle of stop worshiping God, stop following God. Things start to go wrong, and every time it does, the Israelites cry out to God for help. God sends help. This person straightens out the stuff that's going on, gets them back on the right track, and eventually over time, you know that as the leaders leave or maybe even pass away, things turn around and do the same thing over. Time just keeps, the Israelites start to turn away from God again, and things go wrong, and then they cry out and they ask for somebody to help them, and God sends another judge. Well, one of these judges that God sends to help the Israelites is a man named Gideon. Now, Gideon is not what I would call a very guy that thinks he can do stuff very well, I don't think. He's not a big guy. He's not a warrior by any means, and Israel is in the midst of being taken over by a group of people called Midianites. And so Gideon, when God comes to Gideon and kind of shows him that he's the guy, he's the one he wants to be this judge to kind of carry the Israelites back into worshiping God the proper way, Gideon kind of has a doubt. So he kind of asks God, puts God to a little bit of a test. And so he takes this big sheepskin, right? A big woolly cloth like a blanket or something. And he throws it out on the ground and he tells God, listen, I need you to get that blanket wet, but keep the ground around it all dry. And God does it. And Gideon still has a little bit of doubt, I think. And so then he asks, well, okay, God, let's see if you really God. This time, wet the ground around the blanket, but keep the blanket dry. And God does it. And so Gideon understands that he is called by God to help him out, right? So the Midianites, right, this massive army of guys who just want to destroy the Israelites are hanging around, and Gideon gets an army together to take them on. And he gets 32,000 men to come in and just to start this army. Now it's massive. And God tells Gideon, listen, we're gonna show that I'm in charge here, that God is who he says he is, and we're gonna do something. I need you to go to your men and ask them a question. If you are scared to fight in this fight, you can leave right now. Gideon had to question this, like, what? You're going to give them the opportunity to leave? We need everybody, right? But Gideon follows God and he goes up to the men, 32,000 men, and I'm sure he had something, he's speaking here. Anybody who wants to leave now and is scared to fight in this battle can leave. And to Gideon's surprise, and probably to our surprise, 22,000 of the 32,000 men, boop, they go. Oh my goodness, now the army is like, it was so massive and now it's down to 1,000 men and it's not looking good. The Midian army is pretty vast. But God wasn't done. To show my greatness, I want you to take the men down to the river that are left. The 1,000 men, I need you to take them to the river. And every man who sticks his face in the water to get a drink of water, eliminate them. Only keep the men who take the water in their hand and drink it out of their hands. Well, Gideon stands on one side, I guess, and the guys sit down there and they proceed to drink. And guess how many of the guys drink the water out of their hands? Only 300 of the men. Another 700 men eliminated from the battle. Now think about this. You're going into a ginormous battle with just 300 men against a massive army. But here's the thing about Gideon. God, he may not have been big. He may not have been mighty. He may not have been the strongest guy. He wasn't even a warrior, but he was a great tactician. He was a great guy at planning how to get things done. And so God sits there and goes, okay, you're going to go into this. So Gideon comes up with this plan. They're going to go at night and they're going to take vases and they're going to fill them with this stuff that's flammable. And they're going to get these things that make a lot of noise. And so he gets his 300 men and they surround this Midianite army. And they take the vases and they break them and they start banging on them and they light them on fire. And there's this fire around them. Now, when you look out at that, have you ever looked at somebody who points a flashlight at you, right? You can't really see what's going on. Well, all this glow and noise and everything that's going on, the Midianites get up and they think they're surrounded and in the midst of a battle right now. They get up, they grab all their stuff, their spears, their swords, and they start fighting. And guess who they are fighting? Themselves. They are so confused and so lost in this thing. They were in bed asleep. Nobody's wearing their proper uniform. They're wearing their PJs or whatever they wear to go to bed. Nobody can recognize if they're a Midianite or an Israelite. So they go to the war. They're fighting each other. And the Midianites actually destroy themselves. And Gideon and the Israelites win the battle. Guys, aren't we sometimes like that? Sometimes we doubt that we can do great things. But guys, when you got God on your side, you can do anything. Ask him for help. Ask him to give you the strength and the courage to maybe talk to somebody about who Jesus is. That's a hard one, right? We know that going up to somebody and starting to talk to them about who Jesus is hard. But no, Jesus is on your side. He's got your back. So don't cower out. Don't sit there and say, no, I don't want to be a part of this battle. I'm leaving now. Or don't sit there and stick your face in the water. Drink from the loving hands of Jesus. And tell people about it. Because you, my friend, can do anything. You, my friend, can do great things. And you, my friend, can do it all for Jesus. Verses coming up next. We're going to continue next week with some more great people from the Bible. And I am hoping that you are having a great summer vacation. We will talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye. See what great love the Father has lavished on us, that we should be called children of God. 1 John 3, 1a.